Greetings, everybody. This is Matthew Szymanski coming at you from Huntington Beach, California. And on our first episode of Catching Crooks, we have a doozy here. We have a real doozy. These are the worst criminals I've ever seen do anything in America. The amount of satanic conspiracy involved and telepathic insanity is insane here. So we have Copart, a so-called Fortune 500 company, and Autobidmaster, and State Farm Insurance. Okay? If you thought they were doing what they were supposed to, if you thought they were a legit business, you were dead wrong. And I'm going to say whatever I want to say because this is Jesus Christ and God in me. Those crooks are going to hell in the worst ways possible. In the most tormented, horrible, horrifying, bad ways ever before. Okay? These people are in on scams. And they're not only in it for the scam. They're trying to murder you. They're attempting to use the police at you. They're attempting to use the FBI at you. And it's in our country. This is what they said. A lot like Scammer Payback. A lot like Scammer Payback. But these ones are in America. Going under the guise of a Fortune 500 company. Unfortunately, they're not that. And we have all the evidence. Okay, so how this happened, a lot of people have been buying these cars cheap. Or at low prices, that's what it means. But here's the scam. Out of spite only to try to scam you, they're putting false certificate of destructions on these vehicles for no reason at all, and they got the DMV involved. So the DMV is the Nero. They fell for the scam. They're an antichrist. They're evil. They're corrupt. They're psychotic. And they have fallen for the scam. And can they get out of it? Can these DMVs, these police, can they get out of the scam? They're in the Antichrist. Horrible ends. Horrible ends for them. They're all exposed. They're all doing this. It's millions of dollars in insurance fraud they're doing on this one. So many lives are affected. Not really, but they're lying about our lives. And they're lying about us. And they're giving us false certs of destruction on these vehicles. These vehicles are in fine condition, under 5% damage on some of them. The one I got, under 5% damage. Under 5% damage. A door dent. They tried to label it a certificate of destruction. They will submit. They will submit. We will win this. But all the people, they tried. Okay, I've made about 50, more than 100 contacts on this about. And they all lied and said the same thing. That's the telepathic Satanism there. And they said that they will not help us. So they are acting like they're under some alien type of mind control with this one. They're the worst of the worst criminals I've ever seen. They're doing Grand Theft Auto. It looks like they're into murders out there. They're doing a lot of crimes out there. And the police, they do not look innocent on this one. The Tallahassee police. They have let this go on too long. They have acted in ignorance. God is not happy with them. They're complete criminals. And all of them involved in that. The DMVs, California, Florida, State Farm Insurance, the insurance companies, the Bureau of Insurance. They're all lying. Copart, Autobidmaster, all lying. They're all lying. These are not cars with more than 90% damage. These are not totally burned out cars. You see them after they get in a 60-mile-an-hour crash or something like that. Totally burned out. 50-mile-an-hour crash, totally burned out. That's not what they're selling. They're selling used cars and not letting you register them, they say. It's a big scam. They will not win. They will have to register the cars. They're in big fucking trouble. These companies are in big fucking trouble. And they have the apartment buildings in on it. They have the DMV on it, as I said. They're lying. They're lying They're lying. $5 million made in a scam. That's what they did. And what they do, they try to tow the car back. They can't. It's our car. They're using the mechanics, Maaco, Costa Mesa. He tried to scam us. He took $7,000 for a $500 door debt. So we have to get that back. Cash App and Wells Fargo are in on it. They wouldn't give us refunds. They're all in on it. It's in this country now. It's in this country. Those people are going to hell. And as I said, it's God and Jesus Christ in me. It's God and Jesus Christ in me. It's God and Christ in me. They are going to hell in the worst ways possible, the worst torment, the worst affliction, the worst. They're the worst of the worst criminals. They're worse than the murderers in the fucking prisons right now. They're the worst people. They're worse than MS-13. They're worse than all of them. They're the worst of the worst. They're bringing cops down with it. It's a satanic conspiracy. It's a demonic conspiracy. It's against the American people. It's against the law, 100%, totally against the law. It's even against pagan law. And they're lying. And they're trying to pervert it. And basically, at this point, it's against the U.S. laws what they're doing towards us. We're doing nothing wrong. They're caught. They will never be able to do these scams again. At the end of this, they will never, ever be able to do these scams again. They will be in hell forever. They will not repent. They will be dead in hell forever. This is coming up. The impending war is coming up. All this stuff. Those people are going to hell forever. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's in Revelation. We're putting the worst things on them possible. And they're still coming up with lies, trying to say that we're doing stuff we're not, saying everything false about us. They're trying to war with us. They're terrorists. They're evil, psychopathic people. They're the worst of the worst. They're under the false prophet. And they're doing this to American families. They're doing this to innocent people. So watch. The worst things are going to happen. I've already exposed it to the Tallahassee police. It's all exposed. They'll all turn on each other. They'll all kill each other for this one. That's how bad this one is. It has claimed lives. They're murderers. I'm sure because they're stealing people's money. $20,000 about per scam. And they're putting a cert of destruction on it when that's illegal. They can't do that. And then the cops try to harass you over it because if you don't have plates. We're not at fault there. They are. The DMV is in on it. The California DMV and the Florida DMVs are in on it. All the way to the top there, the whole fucking group of them, all of them are doing illegal scams in there. I've seen it myself. There's not one good one in there. Don't be fooled by these cops either. I haven't seen any good cops out here in Orange County, California. Online, YouTube, I haven't seen any good cops. I'm a Christian. It is God and Jesus Christ working through me. All those people that are doing those things are going to get the worst of the worst torment, the worst of the worst hell. They'll never repent. They're evil as hell. They've been doing thefts, murders, lies, all of it. Under the guise of the false prophet, in front of everybody, exposed. The worst ever in the history of ever is happening right now, and it'll get worse, and they'll all die and go to hell. They will not repent. That's exactly what Revelation says. We're going to be putting the worst things on them possible. We're not violent criminals. We'll be putting the worst things on them possible. God will be doing it. The Church of God, Jesus Christ, and God will win this. The armies of heaven will win versus the armies of hell. Not all the powers of hell will prevail against the Church of God. So they're not winning this. They're not winning this scam. The worst things are going to happen to them. The worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. I sent email after email saying this is bad for you. Don't do this. You're going to kill yourselves. Basically stuff like that. It's horrible. You're doing scams for millions of dollars. Stuff like that. They were trying to call me a criminal. They were trying to call the police at me. They can't. I'm innocent. I didn't do anything to them. So they're going to hell. And I said they're going to hell. I told them straight up, you're going to hell for this. All of you are going to hell for this. This is how bad this scam is. And you're all going to suffer, and you're all going to go to hell. That's the only possible outcome because they refuse to correct their mistakes. They refuse to repent. They refuse to do what's right. And they're all going to hell. Every last opponent of God is going to hell forever and ever and ever. and they will never live. They will be cut off from God forever, and that's the truth. So they can't do anything to us. We're going to be all right. There's no mercy for those cowards. The worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst things you can imagine, it's going to be worse than that for them, and they're going to die and go to hell. Those are crooks. The worst fucking things possible. And they've made it even worse for themselves. They're so cursed they don't even know. They don't even know. They are the most cursed of the most cursed of the most cursed of the most cursed of the most cursed ever for doing these types of scams towards innocent people. Amazon. It's in Amazon. It's in every one of these businesses out here. Watch out. They're all going to hell. None of them are okay. None of them will be okay. None of them will repent. They will all go to hell. They're dead bodies here on earth. They're retarded. They're dead bodies already. The worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst is being put on them. The worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. God is going to kill them all. We've already judged them. They're already killed by us. They don't know it yet. That's what they're acting like. They are dead. They're evil, evil psychopaths. And that's the truth. So this is our first episode of Catching Crooks. Literally. They're in our neighborhoods. They're everywhere around here. That's what happens to crooks. The worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst ever. They're so cursed they don't even have a chance. They're all going to hell forever. That's God and Jesus Christ in me, and that's the truth about all this. So that scam goes pretty bad. All of them were in on it. They're all going to hell. See?